Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, Versace Stunner. We're here with a very special episode tonight of VSW Podcast. I'll be honest with you, probably one of my favorite wrestlers on the scene right now in New England, in America, everywhere. The cold, hard truth, Johnny Pierce. Welcome.
Versace. Thank you for having me. I feel very welcome. It's been a long time coming. You reached out to me. You wanted me to talk about, tomorrow night, and here I am the night before the big show. So let's get it right into it.
For those that don't know or those living in Iraq, you are the Supernova World Champion.
Yeah, that's half of it. That's half of it. I am the Supernova World Openweight Champion, but I'm also the Phoenix Pro World Heavyweight Champion. So Johnny Two Belts in full effect. Yep.
I'm loving. I saw that, and I have to say I popped hard for it because you're one of those guys that you will go out, you work hard, you try to make things happen. So I like to see those people get rewarded in this industry, because it doesn't always happen that way, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't. It feels good to be rewarded for your efforts. It feels good to be put in those positions to succeed. And I've been on the other side, and
you have, to be quite frank, I have to, going back, talking with you and looking at things, your career hasn't been all just uphill. You had bumps. You had some rough patches with promoters and other people, and you come out on the other side of all that. You change yourself to be a better person, better wrestler, better everything.
Yeah, you just kind of have to adapt, and I still make mistakes from time to time, but I'm learning from them. I'm trying not to make them a second time. I'm always trying to tweak everything, make sure I'm doing the right things, saying the right things, making the right moves.
But honestly, that's the real hard work, the work on yourself. You can learn moves all day long. You can learn new stuff in ring, but to change yourself, to change some behaviors or things that you've been doing for so long, like that takes real inner work. I do it myself. My kid will point out things to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dad, you're yelling too much. Hey, Dad, you're too stressed. Different things. And it makes you think in a different way. How can I change this? Maybe I am a little bit like this because no one's ever told me that before.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I was a loudmouth Italian. I didn't think I yelled too much.
Yeah. We're pretty stubborn, you and and I think if we can kind of remove ourselves from that stubbornness, we can open up our minds to see things a little differently and see things from different perspectives. So I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, I am excited for them all. Last year ended in a very positive note, I would say. When was that show? It was the day after, I know, BWA, so it had to be October.
Spooktober, right? Spooktober Slam. Ooh.
Yes. And unfortunately, though, it was during Halloween time, which the arcade had the haunted houses going on. So
that haunted house was great. Hey, I made my entrance through there. I got footage. I was calling out Mr. Grimm with my flashlight. There was scary monsters all over the place, blood.
Oh yeah, I bet the aesthetics looked right. I heard that the ring had to be a little smaller, unfortunately, to make it all work.
They had an NCW show at the end of September, literally get canceled moments before doors open.
Yeah, you were supposed to fight Conway.
Yeah, we were supposed to have our Pierce City Street fight at Platinum City Gaming in Taunton, and the venue didn't do a great job letting us know the dimensions we were working with, so we could have fit a 15 by 15, but we had a 16 by 16. So it got canceled. And then for Supernova to have Spooktober Slam in a 12 by 12, there were a lot of unhappy people, whether they were, behind the scenes on the show. I don't know if I wanted the fans to be happy, but you can't always make everyone happy. And
wrestling fans are never happy.
I was just happy there was a show. I didn't care if the ring was 12 by 12.
But you're a big guy. It must have been a little tough for you in the 12 by 12.
Frustrating, but you have to make do with what you have and play the cards you dealt. And I think the four of us in that Fatal 4-Way did just that, because we could have been reckless. We could have just hit moves for the sake of hitting moves or doing a bunch of nonsense, but we work together, and that's how.
And that's the thing, wrestling is adaptation. I've seen shows with no rings. They'll be fighting in a bar somewhere, and they'll make it work in a small enclosed area, and nobody's getting hurt, and everything's safe, and it's still pro wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just kind of roll with it and make it work. Again, though, very excited for that. Because, like I said, I feel like this was something that for me, it was unexpected. I didn't know you were going to win that title. I didn't know who was going to win that title that day. To be honest, I wasn't really watching into Supernova. Like I said earlier, I had heard of Supernova. I've seen the posts through Facebook because it's a wrestling promotion. I follow all the wrestling promotions. I just never saw it physically. And then I heard rumors and other things because you know how the rumor mills of wrestling work.
I do.
I try not to hop on these rumor wagons too much because everybody has a story and everybody has their reasons why they've done things. And sometimes the reasons are justified. So I like to talk to people individually.
Yeah.
Because somebody screwed somebody doesn't mean they're going to screw me. I don't, I don't really, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. So, I looked more into it and I can see there was a lot of fluff and a lot of the accusations because in the end of the day, there is no perfect wrestling promotion. There's no perfect wrestling show. I've been to some high-end shows and seen drama. I've been to low-end shows and seen drama. And I've been to both and seen them run perfect. Like, anything can happen any night with anybody. People can get in bad moods. Things can just happen.
Yeah.
And that's not on the promoter. That's not on the wrestler. That's just things happen.
People have an interesting way of like twisting a narrative to make it fit their story. As far as I'm concerned, I've been treated more than, they've been nothing but nice to me. They've made me feel welcome. They've treated me exactly how I feel I should be treated. And until that happens, I have nothing but positive things to say about Supernova and everybody involved.
Yeah, exactly, because that's your experience, and you can't honestly take somebody else's experiences and make them yours. You have to do it for yourself because everybody is different.
Well, yeah, and there's always two sides to a story. So,
of course, there is.
If you make your judgments and form your opinions off only one side without even getting the other side,
sometimes there's even three sides. There's a third side that no one's seen, because everybody got their own narrative. And again, that's just
the neutral party.
Me just trying to be neutral in pro wrestling. I don't really like to get into a lot of, and this, I don't like to get into a lot of the dirt and the backstage because I think for the fan it ruins and kills the joy of wrestling.
It's just not necessary. Like we literally are independent contractors, so until we sign a contract, we have the freedom to go wherever we want to go, and it's our job to do exactly what we're told to do, and do it well, and do it, safely, and do it to the point that we're entertaining people. And if that can't be done, get out of the business. That's all I gotta say.
And that's not, and that's my whole thing. If you can't do it in two ways, if you can't do it respectfully, meaning, you don't insult people and go overboard. We've seen that happen. I'm not going to drop names, but we've seen people take things too far and offend people, or take gimmicks too far, or just say nasty things. That, you got to kind of tone that back. The other thing is safety. I don't care if you're the best wrestler or not. You might be able to go out there and only do 5 moves because you haven't learned them all yet. But if each one of those moves are done safely, you're a good wrestler. If you're going out there just trying to go beyond what and you're getting injured, you're injuring others, and go back to training or go home.
Yeah, back to the drawing board.
Because it is honestly an industry, the safety needs to be first. You don't want injuries. Injuries are just detrimental because it takes people out of shows. It changes shows. It changes dates. Shows can get canceled if certain people are injured, depending on who the headliners are. Like, I've seen a lot of happens with just injuries, and injuries can happen, without acting reckless. Just normally going to your mat, doing, what you train to do every day, and you still just slip and get hurt, or something happens, land the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Most of us have jobs, 9-to-5s through the work week. Some of us have families, and we all gotta want to get back to them in one piece. So, it's not it's not something I take lightly at all. No,
because if you get hurt in ring, and it could affect your day job, and vice versa. Your day job, you get hurt, you could, you can't wrestle a couple weekends.
I'm always thinking about that. Like, I think you know this about me. I used to be quite the basketball player, and I always have people contacting me, asking me to play here and there, and it's in the back of my mind a lot. Like, hey, maybe I should go grab a ball, see what I got, and I bet I still got a good amount left in the tank. But the only thing I think about is if I get hurt playing basketball, then I can't go wrestle, and I want to wrestle.
God forbid you twist your ankle or something, and then you're out for a couple of weeks or so. There goes shows. There goes title defenses. There goes opportunities.
Right, and then I think I've been working too hard in a lot of these places to miss time based on something that's very controllable, and you add in the wrestling elements, like even on the simplest things it can go wrong and you can get hurt or injured or you know what I mean. Never mind like the crazy complex things that we can do in that ring. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, not for not, I've seen, I've heard of people even getting hurt just like, walking to the ring and just walking the ring the wrong way or getting in the ring the wrong way. Sometimes it's a standard move. You land it the wrong way, you turn the wrong way in your back. Anything can happen. I mean, it's a physical,
sport. Funny story was one of my first matches. I was doing NRG Mystery Inc. Battle Royale, and we were under mass, and I did my ring step over the top rope, and when I planted my foot down, I got a calf cramp immediately, and I said to myself, the bell hasn't even rung yet. What are we doing? But it worked itself out, and I did the deal.
Yeah, because I mean that's the other thing that everybody does really good. If depending on the injury, obviously some more severe than others. You'll stop the match in a way. Somebody will just take the pin and bring it home early.
That's one thing I could say I haven't had to do, and I'm lucky. No referees had to throw up an X in my match. I've been concussed, you name it, it's happened.
But you've been able to just progress through and just that's what I'm saying. Not every injury stops that match. Because you can keep going with some injuries.
You got to think though. I have this basketball background, so playing hurt or injured is not really new to me. And lately, there's been an influx of pro wrestling talent that you talk to them, you get to know them, and they don't even have an athletic background at all. So when they get hurt and when they get injured, it's the first time, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to feel. They don't know
no sports medicine or anything like that. Yeah.
Or self-care practices and things like that. So that's one of the things I've been doing a lot of is investing in, recovery. And, I'll go to massage therapists and chiropractors, and I'll do yoga, and I'll go to the weight room, and I'll do cardio and this and that, try to diet. So if I can give advice to some younger people out there, whether you have a sports background or not, like when you have your free time, you better use it wisely, and you better do some things that will help you in that ring when you're not in the ring.
Yeah, because that is your business. I mean, like your body is what you're using. I mean, and you can only be as good as your body can be. Your mind can be sharp and you can know everything, but if your body ain't gonna move,
and what an awesome body the Cold Hard Truth has, right?
Well, I've seen your workouts. Okay, you do impressive workouts. I watch your Instagram.
Every now and then. I try not to lift too heavy because if you do, you can tear something. And who needs an ego lifter? I mean,
yeah, you're not going for world records down there,
no.
but you want to be able to sometimes you want to test yourself. I remember in boxing, I wouldn't go crazy, but I'd always want to go, 5 or 10 pounds
extra.
More.
Yep, always a little bit more extra. Yep.
Push yourself to that limit of, okay, I'm not going to break myself, but if I go a little further, I just might.
I think the last time we talked, you mentioned something about wanting to pick that back up or something else. Like, were you doing some kickboxing or what was it?
I was getting back into looking into boxing. I was looking into Taekwondo as well. Doing some kind of a martial art again.
You had a chance to do that yet?
No, not really.
Right.
I've it's just time. Time is as an adult. Time becomes the issue. As a kid, it's like money. As an adult, it's the time.
Look at you taking time out of your schedule to have me on this podcast, talk wrestling with me. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
I mean, this is, wrestling is one of my priorities, but I mean, also my number one priority is my family. So I try to, work everything around that. Like, the kid's asleep, got him to bed. Wife is all settled down. She's having some back problems. Speaking of injury, she's going to actually need back surgery soon. She had a back fracture when she was young, and they told her just to, it would heal itself. Back injuries don't heal.
Not really.
And, 30-some years later now, it's come back in to bite her, and she can barely walk. So she's going to have to do some surgery soon to put some rods in, and then there'll be some recovery for that.
Absolutely.
So, I try to make sure everything home set. Then I jump into the wrestling. That's my next thing. And then, I try to do other things, to better myself. I like to go on walks and do things.
Yeah.
Taekwondo, it's something I'll do. Especially because my kid is in it. He's been doing it for a few years. So I want to do it like they do like a family day on Saturday, so I can go and join his class and he can show me what he knows. He'll be more advanced than me at this point. Because I'll just be signing up. I'll be a white belt.
Yeah,
And
but you get the rust off.
Yeah. But as far as the boxing, I did actually, I will say this. I hit the bag the other couple whiles ago, and I didn't pull my back out, and I was happy for that. Because I don't know if I told you, but, my amateur boxing career, if you want to call it ended around 2012-13. I was training one day, normally, and my training sessions were intense. I didn't have a lot going on, so I'd go, the gym would be like an 8-hour day.
Oh, wow.
I would go, I would do my, regular gym stuff. Then I would do the boxing training, and then I would stay for later because we'd have team training. So that's when everybody's there. So I'd make a day of it. Normal thing, I was just going, I was working my hooks, doing on the heavy bag, and I turned just the wrong way, pulled my back, fell right to the ground, collapsed, couldn't stand up.
I'm so sorry.
I was out for like 3 weeks. I got back in. Same thing happened within a week. And I was just like, I don't think I can. The doctor's like, yeah, you did something to your back there. Every time you move it a certain way, it keeps pulling out. And it happens to be when I hook.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm not going to go in and just do jabs. I need to use my hook. So, but I like I said, I hit the bag the other day. I didn't go too heavy on the hooks, just kind of light. I was okay. Back didn't.
I think maybe you cracked the code. It's light hooks and heavy jabs.
Well, that's the thing. I was younger before, so I was trying to go for those knockout punches. Now I'm just trying to go for rhythm.
I'm telling you, man, that bounce back. It was there when I was younger. And you asked me how training went. I went to training class. Want to shout out Test of Strength Dojo in East Hartford, Connecticut. My bounce back ain't what it used to be, man. I don't know. I'm old and I'm banged up and I can't really hang with these 20-year-olds no more.
It's weird how that happens. It happens just one day. You just wake up. It's like, what the hell? I ain't 20 anymore. Shit.
It takes me extra days to recover. And I'm trying to push myself to the limits, but I think I'm a little burnt out, And
well, see, you guys got you wrestlers got the extra stress of you got to get to the show and get home, too. And depending, it could be 5-6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. You could be going down south. It could be anywhere.
I enjoy the traveling. That's where you get to bond, James Bond. And we have a nice little travel group. It's me, Selena Hakate, Sigma, and Filbert, Lord Filbert, his service dog.
Oh, nice.
And the only reason I said Sigma is because him and I have been adversaries for quite some time. I don't really care for him very much. But lately I've decided to put that aside, and we're going to team up for the very first time to take on the Trenches at Training Day 54.
Ooh, that's going to be good.
Still coming up with some sort of tag team name, but...
Who's in there? Patrick Saint's in the Trenches, right?
Yeah, man, I got the chance to stand across the ring from him recently, and let me tell you, ouch, that hurt. And I got to team with Red Sawyer at Gino's Rock Club for Larry Huntley's North Atlantic Wrestling
nice.
Association.
Those Gino shows are the best, man. There's nothing like
now
a Gino.
Undefeated at Gino's, man.
That's awesome.
Funny story about Gino's is I first got there in 2023. 2023? No, 2022. Wow, 2022. And I was deemed medically uncleared and also not good enough yet to compete. So being able to finally wrestle there, make my debut in December of 24, and then winning that match and then winning the couple last weekend, now 2-0, and it feels pretty good because that was a place that had some bad memories at one point where I was just managing other wrestlers, kind of just watching and getting interfering with their
trying
matches,
to find your way,
trying to find my way and bouncing around, and then the neck heals, and then I'm starting to get good, and sure enough, Larry and me connected and reconnected, and I thought I had like burned that bridge, because I had worn the incorrect attire to one of his shows, and he told me I looked too goofy, and he yelled at me.
That's Larry, though. He's like
He
that.
yelled at me in front of everybody, and I was like, damn, I guess I blew it. But as I started getting in the business and better and learning the ins and outs, when the opportunity presented itself to go back to Geno's, I was like, I know that crowd. Like, of course I want to, you know what I mean? That crowd is crazy. I get to do things there that I don't get to do anywhere.
No, because it's like a nightclub. And it's like it's a limited guest list. Like only so many people can be in that building.
Yeah.
People are coming and going. If someone leaves, somebody walks right in.
I know. It's
People
like
are outside
someone will
waiting.
leave, other people come in, and when that person tries to come back in, if they're at max capacity, then sorry,
They're done.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Larry, and in those shows, everybody wants to get on them. So kudos to not only getting on,
Yeah,
but
I'm
then
so
taking
happy,
victories.
dude. I'm undefeated. I've been beating up Jason Maverick, so hometown boy,
Big
right?
country.
Face the truth, and the truth is I'm 2-0.
That's
Wait,
good. That I like that. And again, I'm glad to see you out there in Maine. Maine is right now a booming spot for pro wrestling. There's a lot of promotions out there.
I have a plan. I'm trying to take over the state just like I did to Vermont. If you name a promotion that runs in Vermont, everybody wants to hate on Vermont. Oh, there ain't no. I don't want to name drop, but one of the guys, a vet I used to look up to, was like talking all this unnecessary trash about Vermont, talking about, oh, ain't no wrestling up there. And, I hear it, but there's about 4 or 5 promotions out there that Johnny Pierce is on all of them. So when you think about that state, I want you to think about Johnny Pierce wrestling in Vermont. Because
I know Vermont pretty well because my other co-host on my other show, VTV, is Vic, and he lives in Vermont. Now he happens to live in southern Vermont, which there's no wrestling for like
not
3 hours.
Not a whole lot down there, and that's a shame. Somebody should do something about it.
They should. I told them we should start something or run a show, do something at his kid's
school. It's all about connecting with the right people, knowing what to do, what not to do, and trial and error, and you'd be all right.
It will, but something like that where it's new to the thing, like I told him, I would bring it to like
you gotta bring somebody in who knows what they're doing. Yeah, you gotta
bring someone that knows what they're doing. But I would run it like to try to talk to like the athletic.
Oh, you could definitely talk to a school. Hell yeah! There's one promotion I wanted to get to. I never did because they closed. It was Liberty States, and they used to run in a middle school or something or other. And I would go to a lot of those shows and saw a lot of my buddies wrestle on those shows, and I always wanted to get there, but I didn't make it over there. So it can be done. It's been done.
Yeah, no, and the idea would just be to bring wrestling to an area that doesn't have any.
Southern Vermont. I was talking about Maine earlier. Between you and I, I'm not gonna like keep a secret. Like I'm trying to do the exact same thing in the state of Maine, and I think it's a possibility. Like right now, the plan is, whatever promotion I'm working in Maine, dominate, do the best I can, and try to grab as much attention, so that the other Maine promotions that I'm reaching out to, but there's just really no interest right now. I'm hearing, oh, we got future plans, but we'll talk to you when it's down the road. And I just want to be associated with Maine wrestling. When you think,
oh yeah, because like right now, for instance, you got, Supernova's running out of there, but I wouldn't call them necessarily.
They're kind of a multi-state.
Yeah, you got a Canadian show. You got
it's a multi-country, multi-state operation where I know there's going to be a show in Lynn in October. I know there's a show over the summer in Montreal. I've never wrestled in Montreal. I'm about to wrestle in Montreal. You know how many doors that's going to open?
I haven't been to Canada in 10 years.
I got Canada a little bit. Like you cross the Vermont border, there's Stansted. I've done a lot of shows in Stansted. I think 4 now, maybe more. So I really like going to Stansted. But when it comes to Montreal, like that's going to be new. And I think it's going to open some doors. I think there's a connection between one of the companies I've worked for in Canada called ETWA. They have a connection to Torture Rack or Torture Chamber.
Yeah.
And man, I would love to do some business with them. They came and did a show with ETWA. I think they do something with the AIWF. I'm not 100% on that.
And then you got the big ones. You got Limitless out there running.
Hey, I'm trying to get up there, man. I'm knocking on the door.
I would love to do a good entry level to get into.
I would love to do.
You know, you see
Rex.
people that have grinded get into that. It's not easy. It's one of those things that you got to really fight for. But
I think you know that I don't want it easy, and I'm gonna fight. And the day I have no fight left is when I'm gonna stop.
there
But
you
I
go,
don't
turn
see
it
that
in.
coming anytime
Coach
soon.
Boots. You know, MPW though, they're doing some good
I have
things
been
too.
contacting them. I noticed some unfortunate news about tomorrow's show. Is a couple people had to pull it off, and it
Some
stinks.
people
But
did.
you know what?
They're
They're still going to have a really good show, and I think it's worth going to if you're a fan. If you already have a ticket, if you don't have a ticket, like they're gonna be just fine.
I went to their last one and I was very impressed. You know, I saw some great main wrestling. Some people from even
let me
the
ask you
state
this.
came up.
I watched some of it. I watched some of the recent stuff, and I want to ask you this: like, I think if I keep knocking on that door, maybe over the summertime, do you think I could add to that show? Do you think I would do well for main premiere?
I think so. I honestly do. There's people in there that I think that you would butt heads well with, that you've fought in before, and even new people that you haven't touched before.
Nothing like
Because they have that kind of roster. Some people like that you've been, you know, you've tangled with people like Jason Maverick and such, but then there's other new people. You know, I could see you and Wesley Pipes someday down the line, maybe fighting for that title. I'll be honest.
He's got the title right now?
He's got the title right now, but you got the size, man.
I just met him at Main Event Wrestling with Michael Turner, Bell to Bell Promotions. He's a good dude. So yeah, I could tangle up with him for sure.
You know, but yeah, you know, you got that. You got EWA out there that came back.
Yep.
You got and a few others. This, you know, Maine, like I said, is on the bounce for, you know, wrestling right now. And it's not too congested, as you know, in Mass, we'll have like 3-4 shows same night.
Right. So it can get a little cluttered, and you know they're relatively close to one another. But out in Maine, it's very vast.
Maine is very sparse, and it's almost
you
a totally different crowd. The crowd won't travel like Mass. People won't.
You got to drive
3 hours,
right? You got to drive hours to get to these places.
Yeah, people in Mass won't
Maine.
go. I know people in my town that won't even go to Lowell's shows. They say it's too far. I'm like, dude, it's like 20 minutes. What are you talking about? I've been to Jersey.
I've been wrestling in Leominster a little bit. It's about 30 minutes from where I grew up, and like I hardly get a turnout up there, so I understand.
Yeah, you go Route 2 all the way. There's nothing in Leominster. Leominster's Leominster.
Yeah, well, I got the debut for Lucky Pro recently.
Lucky Pro's a good. I like Lucky Pro. I wish they honestly just. I don't like Leominster because I
got it. I get it.
I dated a girl from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And she was right over the border in Leominster, and she was just a totally trash-like person. Screwed around on me in one of my lowest moments when I was really sick, and just dealing with a lot of stuff, but just going out that way. But my kid, you know, he likes to go to there's the park out there, Great Wolf Lodge. It's either Fitchburg or there. It's one of the others.
Yeah.
And so we went out there, but honestly, there's not a lot out there. I don't know how well people draw out there.
They do decently
well. The ride
well.
is easy because it's Route 2 all the way.
World of Hurt also runs there, and those shows do real well. So, yeah, between Lucky Pro and World of Hurt, it's nice to wrestle close to home, and I'm trying to get some better close to home opportunities because I've been going all over the place, and it would be nice to get, you know, maybe some Worcester shows and different places.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of promotions out in the
Boston,
Western Mass.
I think Boston has some wrestling in East Boston.
What do you got out there right now? UFO is coming back.
UWE, is that what that is? UWE?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they've been running, you know, some shows out there. BWA was running, but they closed down. You know, unfortunately, the wrestling industry isn't for every promoter, or every promoter shouldn't be a promoter, unfortunately. But you know that as well. I mean, people try. I'll never tell anybody not to try.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you see it's not working, don't string others along. Don't promise people shit. Just keep it to yourself and just slowly dissipate if it has to be that way. Yeah, but you know, I don't like to hold grudges in wrestling because I feel like there's we're fighting over 90% kayfabe business. And I say that because the boys will kayfabe the boys. People will kayfabe the backstage even more than the fans.
Yeah, they will.
If they have to. I've seen people work people that should have never, they should be on the same team. You know what I mean? Like, the goal should be not that, what they're doing. But, to each their own. I try not to stay in that negative space because wrestling can get very, 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 very negative, very, very toxic, very, very fast. You can hop into the wrong crowd and you can be in all sorts of freaking, dilemmas and drama. You saw, when we brought Yosef on, how volatile that got really fast.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon, that one. I'll tell you that.
He'll be there tomorrow. He had some bold words though why he wasn't on either show, but he will be there. He had a great matchup with Wild Child in October. It was a doubleheader night.
It won Rivalry of the Year. Speaking of doubleheader nights, okay, let me piggyback off that because the night of Spooktober Slam, when he had his killer match with Wild Child and whatnot, I had my fatal four-way for the title. But prior to that, I was in another state wrestling Braylon Johnson for Impulse Pro Wrestling Autumn Moonfest. Once that was over, got in the car, hit it. We were 3 hours or something. Pulled up at Supernova, walked in, walked out with the belt. What's up?
And that's what I'm saying. Those two had fought the night before.
Yeah, let's do that same night in different states.
That's crazy, though. I mean, and then to walk home with the title, that's impressive.
Let's talk about it. Not many people know the extent of the cold hard truth, Johnny Pierce, and how serious I take this. I think Kevin Castro said it best on Leo Connor's podcast. I'm very passionate, and I feel like a lot of times that may rub people the wrong way, but quite frankly, this about me. I don't care. I really don't care how you feel about that.
Well, you know what? Because I think people mistaken passion. Either they mistaken it from being a mark, or they mistake it for just being stupid.
I think
or they just want to. Or they're jealous of it. Or they're jealous of it because they can't dedicate.
That's not my problem.
It isn't. It's not. You should never look at that and be like, you know what? That's on you that you can't dedicate this time in devotion to what you like.
I got this target on my back. I got this target on my back, and I know it. So it ain't nothing to me.
And I think the more you keep collecting belts and collecting victories, it only just, fuels your hate. They get mad at that. They see it. They're like, oh, fucking Johnny's at it again. Johnny's got
it was over. Prevalent. It was prevalent the night of Spooktober Slam. It wasn't right in my face, like direct, but like indirectly, you could kind of feel it that there was something in the air. I've already spoken to the people I needed to speak to about it, and I'm coming for everything. They're throwing a lot of challenges and challengers in my way, but there's one in particular that I'm dying to have, like literally dying. And I've been calling him out. It's Mr. Grimm. He got signed to the NWA, and he missed without warning in the tournament for the title. He's the only one.
That's the name I haven't heard about.
They call him the Hitman for Hire, right?
I know him. I haven't heard of that name in a minute. I remember I watched him in 2020, 2021 in Wrestler's Laboratory. I think he was also C4 champion at one point, or somebody. He was a champion in Ohio. We got to talk, and I actually own one of his shirts. I don't know if I have
a dope shirt collection. I tell you,
I do have one of the hell. I might have even had him on my earlier podcast back in 21.
Listen, Hitman for Hire versus Cold Hard Truth. Boom.
Where can this happen? Who can put this match?
We're on a collision course. Listen, my calendar for SNW, he names it, it's happening. I don't care if it's Montreal. I don't care if it's Lynn. I don't care if it's Portland, Maine. It needs to happen. It has to happen. It will happen. And I won't stop until it happens. I'll go to him. I'll go down there. And I'll put the SNW World Openweight Championship on the line wherever.
That's actually a really nice matchup, though, because I mean he's nothing nice, and he's got the physique and the build, and honestly, you're not a small wrestler. You're from like a throwback era. You got some size and height.
I love when you talk like that. I do.
But a lot of people don't. It's changed. Wrestling has changed. Yes, there's big guys, but there's still just average guys too now.
Yeah.
You're a little bit bigger than average. You intimidate when you stand head to head with somebody.
I should. I should send tingles down your spine. I'm tired of being held back in pro wrestling. So
what you did at the Big City Rumble was devastation, and that was just total chaos. But it was one of my favorite moments.
If you put me in the ring with multiple men, right? Just I don't care if it's what did they do? 40 one year? 40, 30, 20. I've been in, you know what I mean? 15, 10. It don't matter. Bodies will be thrown and they'll be flying all over the place. And that's just my MO. I pick things up and I put them down. And I'll pick you up and I'll put you down.
I love it. And I mean, even at WrestleFest, because the NCW is coming back. I see it on my calendar, You had that match in the bag, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm pretty sure that 99% of that match, you were in control.
We're going to go to the tape, okay? You can think I'm crazy. You can think I'm a conspiracy theorist. You can think I'm paranoid. You can think I'm wild. My head is resting ever so gently on Michael Montero's body. So if anybody pinned anybody, this is before Steve Less pinned both of us, who really pinned who?
Yeah, I mean, if you were already down,
I was on top of Mike Montero's body. Referee didn't count. Steve dives on both of us. Referee counts. Who pinned who? May I ask you? Need we a rule book? The book of truth? Because it sounds to me
it's got to be like in math, you do your multiple, you do things in the order of operation. There should be an order of operation. You pin first.
B equals C. Yeah.
Yes.
What goes up must come down. Gravity. Yeah. It's all in the book. It's all in the book.
So things aren't equal in there.
And you read from that book, and it's a book of lies. It's the liar book. And Steve Less and NCW management and the officials, right?
You got to remember, you used to have officials even like TJ Richter. Can you really trust the officials?
Absolutely not. He was coerced into turning in his zebra outfit to come out of retirement when that wasn't necessary at all. All you had to do was rep the match and not be influenced by the talent. That you have to be.
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest with you, any of these refs can be influenced by any talent.
There's a certain talent in the back who is now wrestling all over the place. Used to be a referee. I picked him up and I gave him the running up power slam. All right. My second WrestleFest match, Dan Tanaka just so happened to miss old school cool Corey Michael, take his King of Thrones crown and bop me in the head with it. Since when is that legal in a singles match?
No rules. There's just no. Well, there's rules, but
I'm shrouded in controversy, is what it is. And you just witnessed it was highway robbery, like you said, highway robbery.
Yeah, you own 99% of that match. I don't honestly. I went into that pretty confident with Vegas odds that Johnny Pierce was coming out as the new champion. Mike's a great fighter, but Mike was tired, and honestly, after watching you manhandle both him and Lust at Big City Rumble, I was like, neither one of these guys stand a chance.
There's more of that coming. All right. I don't care if you're cleared, active, inactive, injured, hurt, don't feel good. I'm going to pick more than one of you up and pick you. I can pick up two people at the same time and still dump them down right on the mat. So as far as I'm concerned, with or without that title, I am the NCW heavyweight champion. You were there. You saw what happened.
I did.
That cover was mine. I was screwed over by NCW officials. And we're going to see what happens next weekend, Friday, a week from today, in Dedham.
Dedham, Mass coming back. And, I do like that NCW comes back because Dedham is not a far show to go to. It's a nice, close show. Good Chinese food across the street.
We have another interesting NCW story where I first went, made the classic rookie mistake of not having any sort of gear in my car and just kind of assumed that since I wasn't supposed to be a part of the show that I wouldn't be a part of the show. And they offered me a spot and I had to decline because I didn't want to do anything in my street clothes.
I notice in this industry, you should always be ready to
Yeah.
take a bone because somebody's out there will throw you the bone to say, "Hey, we could use you."
I had such a tough go at it where, people were telling me to take bookings and I'd take them, and then they'd say, "Why did you take that? You can't take bookings." So I would not take the book. So it was a very confusing
Yeah, I
time
know.
for
I
me.
get that. You had a rough,
didn't
like I
want
said, you
to-
had a rough beginning in this industry. It was
I
not
didn't want to
easy.
piss off the wrong people. And the first time they did like a group photo, I got cold feet and skittish, and I was like, I don't really feel like I'm deserving of being in this photo because I had just gotten here and hadn't really earned the respect or my stripes. One of the matches that kind of woke me up was the Spotlight Darley Decimo versus Mike Montero. And I heard the crowd. I heard all the noises. I watched. I peered out from the behind the scenes, and I thank both of them for that because it gave me that wake up call that I needed to get my shit together.
I remember that Dolly had won the Big City Rumble that year,
He did.
and he went on to go challenge Mike. And you know, that's something though. Like I said, NCW. It's one of those promotions where some people look at it. Ah, it's NCW. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Other people will look at it, though and go, this is like technically one of the longest running New England pro wrestling companies still running with the same name.
It's unbelievable.
They're right under before. Top Rope might be the longest one, but Top Rope has had name changes. NCW has never changed their name.
No, not once.
And you've had all sorts of guys come through there that are on TV everywhere. I mean, you've seen people like AG in there. All these guys. So
that's definitely not lost on me. No way.
And there's people that have gotten their beginnings there.
Yeah,
People like Ricky.
I'm one of those. I'm one of those people.
I remember seeing a young Ricky Smokes there. Now he's WWEIG'd on Tubi. You see these guys come in there, they learn, and they keep going. I remember though when I saw your name in the magazine. I think that changed a lot too. When I saw you saying, they're looking at you as someone to look at.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I was like, this is great. Johnny's going somewhere.
It's unbelievable what they've been able to do for me in my career, and I've been able to tap into a creative side that I never even knew was there. Really, I had a little bit of a musical background, trying to do some rap music as an amateur, just writing raps and recording them and passing out CDs to people that would listen to them, and it never really took off. I just did a few mixtapes and then kind of gave it up. So I've always been interested in video, audio, production, just doing different things with the character. And anytime something crazy pops in my head, big or small, I know I have the backing and the confidence to bounce it off of Castro, bounce it off of, JC Marks, whoever's willing to give me some feedback. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Oh, that's a bad idea. Let's just move it around a little bit, see what we can come up with together. So I just wanted to shout them out for that.
Oh, definitely. JC is, a pinnacle person in New England wrestling. And he's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot. He's been around a long time to see a lot. And to stay in business that long,
you got to be doing something right.
Exactly. I was just going to say, because I've seen people do one show and fold. So to go year after year after year, multiple shows, multiple people, and just keep going, it's impressive. It really is, because it's not an easy industry. It's a very cutthroat industry. It's not really for the money. I mean, there's money to be made, but not off the bat and not always.
I get so psyched up for WrestleFest, and it's so awesome to be able to go from Bristol, Rhode Island every now and then back to the home base in Dedham, and
two different fan bases too. Yeah. The Bristol fan base totally different than Dedham.
Very different venues, very different fan bases. You really gotta work hard to make sure those Bristol fans know who the hell you are and what you're doing in NCW. Because Dedham, it's easy for Dedham to kind of get behind what you're doing.
Because those guys go to like Chaotic and they go around. They know a lot of the people.
And they connect with you, and you're there a lot, and you see them a lot. Then you go to Bristol every so often. But if you don't bring your A game in Bristol, they're gonna let you know about it. They're gonna be like, this match sucks. Like, get
Please
these
don't
guys out
come
of here.
back. Please
Yeah,
don't come back.
yeah. They'll get real quiet. Yeah.
But it must
So
be fun though. I haven't been to a Bristol show. It's on my bucket list of
the
things to
venue is
do.
incredible. Yeah, I recommend it. If you can swing it, you can get down there.
But I've been a fan from NCW since like 2017. That was my first indie show I walked into.
How about Kids Day in North Attleboro? It's a 2-day event this year. Can you believe that?
Are they doing 2 days this year?
They're
That
doing
will be
2 days, Friday and Saturday.
nice. With 2 shows?
2 wrestling shows. Last year, I got robbed, and Corey, Michael, and I brawled in the heat, in the heart of the fair. But there's no footage of it to document. We just took it into the fair. So I think there's gonna be something this year that's like more interactive with what's going on in the fair. I just don't know what.
I'll have to follow you around with a camera and try to catch the footage.
He put me in a bathroom stall and then tried to find me, and I like popped out. It was one of those behind door number 1 or door number 2.
Oh, that's fun though. I have to say, WrestleFest always. I mean, I'm Kids Fest. All the Kids Day is always a good time, and I'm glad
he threw me into a bush, and I took it. I took it hard, and there were some prickly thorns in there that really marked me up. So,
but it must be fun doing. It must be fun doing it outdoors though, because outdoors is a whole different environment.
It was fun. That crowd is not your usual wrestling crowd because they're there for Kids Day, but I think they understand what's happening, and there was like 2 cage matches last year. That was unreal. There was a tag team cage match for the tag team championships that were stolen from the Riot and Giant Connection. Stolen. Those dastardly hard work heroes.
Wild. But I always, like I said, I always look. That was the first show that got me, I've been a wrestling fan, all my life. When I was a kid, I got into, WrestleMania 2 and 3 and 4 and the games and the toys and all of that. Attitude Era galore. Then I took time off. Life happened. I, did other avenues. Me, myself as well. I like music a lot. Someday I should have you come to my studio. You can come and jam out. I got a nice little studio, good rap. I got all these, all the equipment that, to even master, take it right to the masters. I play a lot with music and I play a lot with video. Web design, graphics. I did a lot of time with that. I went to school. Wrestling wasn't even on my mind. I tried to be a pro wrestler. They told me I was too small. I just went my own way. But, I started, we crossed paths again somehow doing video and wrestling. And I wanted to check out some local shows. And I walked into Dedham and I was amazed because when I went to an indie show as a kid, there was nobody on there. Bums. Straight up bums. And then they would have like Honky Tonk Man and some names from WWE.
Of course.
The other guys were just no-name people. Could have been off the street. Never see them again. Fast forward, 17, when I walked in and I seen like AG up in there. MSP was in there at the time. Mike Montero with Dirt City Murder Crew was there. Dick Lane. Everybody had a character behind them. Everybody had a gimmick. Everybody had an outfit, a uniform, costume, whatever you want to call it. They had a character. They had a fan base. They had merch. They were somebody. They presented themselves like this was WWE, that they were a star too. And that changed the idea for me because I was like, indie, oh, wow, everybody now is they're no longer subbing themselves out to, WWE or bringing in one guy to ruin. These people have their own stories. They're the stars now. And, being able to see people like you tell, and do their stories. Granted, it might not be like Cody Rhodes kind of money, but the storyline is right on par with what you see on TV from the indie scene to televised television wrestling.
That's high
storyline, the passion, all of that. Sometimes even more in the indie scene. The only thing that's missing is that money.
Yeah, we're trying our I can swear on here?
Yeah.
We're trying our asses off. I want as many promos as I can get out that make sense, with what I'm trying to do. And last year, I don't know, I just kind of like went silent. I went radio silent. You didn't hear from me because I had Castro and he talked, and I just went out there and pick people up and slam them down, and tried to get as many wins as I could. And I went undefeated, unpinned, unsubmitted until WrestleFest, where things kind of just fell apart. We were talking earlier about like back in the day with NCW and some of the vets that are still here now and how they were conducting themselves back then and how they continue to conduct themselves now. And I really have to tip my hat to the vets in the NCW locker room for kind of just putting that on me, and making me confident to go out there and give back that same kind of like, oh, I'm a star here. I'm not just some, regular guy anymore. I came into the scene a little timid, not really sure. And everybody in the back knows this story is like, we weren't really sure what we had, right? They had me on this big multi-man team elimination style with Osiris, Tyler, down from Lockup and
Yep.
Top Rope, the Difference Brooks, Koosh Bandicoot, and we took on, Sigma, Robbie the Giant, Aaron Cadamia, and Foxy Calvin Campbell. And I came out of that match looking pretty good, and it just kind of took off from there. I tried my very best to just do what was asked of me to the best of my ability. So I relied pretty heavily.
I think I remember the first time I saw you there. I was intrigued because I'm a huge horror fan. I just heard horror music. I seen a dude come out with a mask, looks like a serial killer. I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know who this guy is, but he's my new favorite wrestler here.
Thank you. It didn't go exactly the way I kind of had envisioned it, but I wanted some smoke, first of all, and I know somewhere in the NCW truck there's a smoke machine laying around, or it's somewhere, because they used to have one, so I wanted that to come through the smoke. And
now I'm the smoke machine. I sit there in the island glow.
Yeah, man, you are the smoke machine. I had gloves that matched the outfit. Some reason I spaced out and didn't wear my gloves with the bones on them, but I wear them now. Yeah, I mean, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but the message that I was trying to send was like, I was driven crazy by this crown that, even though Old School Cool Corey Michael had worked extremely hard to get and beat 3 people in a tournament at Kids Day to win, it just didn't register. I was just so caught up in, he cheated to beat me, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be the king of NCW in Kids Day. So I was just jet set on trying to play some sort of mental game. What's bigger than a king, right? And I was like, oh, I know kings are afraid of death, so I'm gonna death to the king. You know what I mean? Like Skull and Bones, and
how you win chess, man.
Yeah, trying to channel some kind of like, I'm not only gonna take that crown, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I'm gonna kill you and take your crown. And it just so happened that that didn't go as according to plan either. And then Castro and I joined forces, and it's been money.
No,
right?
even though the WrestleFest didn't go as planned, you're not holding that against Castro in any way, right?
Ooh, spoiler, huh? You trying to get the inside scoop a week early? I can say this much. I went a whole year of not really talking. And if you saw the reaction video after WrestleFest, I was just about to speak my mind and the camera's cut. So what do we got there? More controversy. I can't even get a word in. And people of NCW, the fans, Dedham, whether you're a regular or it's the first time you've been there, if you're going to watch what goes up on YouTube after, I'm going to speak my mind on that. He's on thin ice. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. We're going to have to address the elephant in the room. We fell short of the goal. He had promised me the moon, and I got to the stars, and that was it. I didn't get the moon.
I mean, I don't like to compare managers, but I've seen other managers on the scene, obviously. People like Baca Bella and all that.
Yeah.
And they will go to any length that they have to. Even
That's
hit
what
the
I mean.
referee.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So, if you look at things, like, obviously I'm loyal, and he got me I won the Big City Rumble. Everything was going according to plan. It was me and Montero. I had him dead to rights. Right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay. Ricky and Jason, they super kick him with Mike. They get involved in a match they have no business getting involved in, whether that's your boy. I don't care. That's my match. I don't steamroll into your matches and take over, even though I could.
This was a match that you earned. You earned this.
That was my moment, and the DCMC took it away from me. Steve Lust took it away from me. But like then you look at, okay, Castro, why didn't we win? We should have been prepared for anything, even the possibility of Steve Lust making a comeback.
Steve Lust, Dirt City Murder Crew, anybody. You got to be ready for anything. It's wrestling.
I guess, we're a little blindsided, and I'm a forgiving man. I'm just not a forgetful man.
Well, no, you shouldn't be. I think, it's, I mean, you might have already done this or not, but it's a point maybe have a heart-to-heart and just be like, look, going forward, we need to do something different.
Yeah, we're going to see just how, what are his plans next? Like, I'm gonna feel him out. He's going to be in the feeling out process. Where are you going to take me in 2025 NCW heading into 2026? I can't believe I just said that because it feels like time is starting to fly. But when you look at Johnny Pierce in WrestleFest at NCW's biggest show of the year, tell me, Versace Stoner, what is my record? I'm about to get hot. What is my record at WrestleFest in 3 years?
It's good. It's really
good.
No?
It's the opposite of good, yes. At WrestleFest for 3 years straight.
At the WrestleFest itself, yes.
Losing side. I am 0-3 at WrestleFest. And I am at the point where that can no longer happen. It already was there.
But let me ask you, what's the difference? Because you've been very victorious in other events. You've won Rumbles, you run this, you run that.
Everyone will tell you, oh, he can't handle the pressure. That ain't it. I think it's because Castro and I are not for the first time, we're not on the same page in the Book of Truth. And I need to get him back on that same page. I have never lost focus. Okay? Not once.
No.
I've done everything he's asked me to do and then some. I've gone above and beyond. I have won. I have been the last man standing. Let's talk about the Big City Rumble. Whose feet hit first?
If I actually have that footage and I've watched it several times, and to be honest with you, it is not honestly what people thought it was, where it was Lex Luger and Bret Hart hitting first. Montero landed first, and then
whoa. Pause. Steve Lust.
Oh, Steve Lust was in that one, yes.
So if you slow the footage down and you zoom in to the floor, it doesn't take a blind man to see, under the rules of that match, when the person's 2 feet hits the floor, they're eliminated. And in other matches, like you said, boom, same time, right?
It has happened. It's a coincidence, but it has happened, yes.
However, in mine, at the Pierce City Rumble, in my match, not the Big City Rumble, because we don't call it that.
No, it's Pierce City Rumble.
Steve Lust's feet hit, and then mine hit, but to the untrained eye, oh, they hit at the same time. Let's just call it a tie. More for Steve Lust. More for Steve Lust. Let's screw over Johnny Pierce. Let's screw over. Do we see a pattern? No,
I am starting to see this pattern now over and over, because then, you say that, who's hit first? Who pinned who first at WrestleFest? This bad record at WrestleFest almost is becoming a conspiracy theory here. I want to dig.
How do we know that Castro wasn't up to it? Huh? How do we know? Because guess what he did at the WrestleFest previously to acquire me?
Well, I mean, what did he do to the former people he was managing? How did he treat them?
Is this all a ruse to get my guard down and take me to the promised land to then pull the rug out from under me. I can't even rule him out. What
And
if
then
he's
he'll blame
involved
you
with
that,
the,
you know, you failed him for the last
Yep.
time like he did them.
yeah, could be involved with the DCMC. Mike Montero's injury could be a fluke. Steve Lust's injury could be a fluke. He could be in cahoots
He could be
with Lust.
working with Lust now. Who knows?
Let's talk about this. Lust used to be a part of a faction known as what was it, League of Excellence or League of something like that?
Yeah, with Isana and Dylan Nix and what's his name? Nick Diamond.
Dallas McCarthy.
Yes.
They were known to do some real dirty, stinky, sneaky things to get what they wanted. So I'm not ruling anything out. My head is spinning, but the eyes are on the prize. And Steve Lust, if you're the champion, if you're not the champion, whoever's the champion, if the title's vacant, my eyes are on that championship, and I'm coming for it with or without someone in my corner.
So that's the thing. I mean, I was going to tell you, you know, watching you, Castro has been helpful. He has gotten you where he has to go, and it's always
how helpful has he been then?
He has helped you stay focused in some times that you weren't the most focused. Okay,
I will give you that. Yes,
but I don't think he's made Johnny Pierce. Johnny Pierce was formed and made long before Castro walked onto the scene. The cold, hard truth was already spoken.
That's where I'm coming from. Truer words have never been spoken, right? Truer words have never been spoken. And that's where I'm coming from next week in Dedham. We're going to figure out what's what and who's who and where I'm going. Because I
can't wait for it, honestly. I honestly can't wait for it. I'm excited. I'm excited for Supernova. I'm excited for everything.
They're announcing matches over there for the kickoff show. And what do we have? Johnny Pierce in action. Where's my opponent? What's happening here? We don't have a challenger for me. You
should technically still be the number one contender.
I should be champion.
You should be champion, but I mean, if you're gonna take the
loss,
is there
something above number one contender, just under champion? Like, what is that position? Because that's
real champion. It's called real champion. The real champion. That's what it's called.
I'm in limbo. I'm in purgatory. And I am not comfortable here. This is a place I don't want to be. I need to be at the tippity top. That championship is coming on my waist.
Hopefully, you know, who knows? I think that, you know, you keep doing what you're doing, whether it be NCW, whether it be Supernova, whether it be in Vermont, Maine, Mass, Canada. It doesn't really matter. You keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to be at the top of every promotion because you have the mindset and the drive to get yourself there.
I appreciate that, man. I'm coming, and it's been a long journey, and we'll see what's coming on my horizon.
I love watching. That's what I love about this scene. The arc, and watching people like you get on that arc and fly right to the moon. We are just about out of time, but let me ask you, where can folks find you on social? I know what shows you're going to be at, and we're going to post all that in the
oh my goodness, I appreciate it. Pretty much on all these platforms. It's hard to keep up with them now, but you can search Johnny Pierce, and I'm there. The X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's pretty much it, I think. YouTube, you can get me on YouTube on my channel. Those shows coming up, I think I can rattle off a few in order. Supernova Wrestling presents Draft Night tomorrow in Portland, Maine. Following day, Green Mountain Wrestling, Shamrocks and Headlocks, Barrie, Vermont. Next weekend, NCW kickoff show, Dedham. And then I'll go to Maine, Franklin, Maine for MEW. Triple Threat, Dylan Nix, Stormy Savage, and me for the Maine State Championship.
See, MEW is another good promotion. I like them too. And, you know, you work with MEW. Eventually, I think you're going to get into MPW. And you're going to make friends with those guys because a lot of these guys work all the same promotions in Maine. Maine's very friendly. Everybody likes each other in Maine. The more, you know, the more promotions you work, the more people you become friends with, the more places you're going to go travel. And I'm there for it. Honestly, Johnny, I'm there to see you succeed here in pro wrestling. I love it.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. Whenever you're in the crowd or not in the crowd and watching from home, part of my responsibility is to make sure I entertain you from start to finish, and I put a lot into it, so I hope to get a lot out of it.
Well, you do, and you do succeed in that. Thank you for coming on. thank you everybody at home for watching. You know where all the places to check out this great wrestling coming up, and there's even more too. But as always, support indie wrestling. Get out there, check out a show, buy a shirt, do something, because it is the backbone of what pro wrestling is. You can't get onto TV without the indie scene. It just doesn't work that way. Thank you, everybody. Versace Stunner out.